Teach Stamping, and welcome to today's video tutorial. Today I had some fun on my Facebook page at facebook.com/iteachstamping and asked my fans on there what type cards they were needing some help with. The first response I got was a sympathy card, and so that's exactly what we're going to do today. So I'm going to start with two pieces of very vanilla cardstock, and the first one's going to be 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you how I did this. And then I took another piece of very vanilla that's going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Without using any adhesive, I layered these together and ran them through my Big Shot using the Labels Collection Framelits. And I did this all at one time, so I cut through two pieces at the same time. Then I ran this layer through the Argyle embossing folder. So now that I've done that, there's only one thing I need to do before I put this layer on, and that is to add some ribbon. So I'm using some of the Pear Pizzazz taffeta ribbon. Now, the one thing you want to make sure of is that you do have it the right way, the same way that you die cut it. So rather than having it reversed, to make sure it's going to perfectly line up, in case it was off a little bit while you were running it through your Big Shot. So I'm just going to take this ribbon and wrap it around towards the bottom of our card. Yep, I did that right. And then this whole layer can drop onto the front of our card. So I'm lining it up with that die cut in the middle. Okay, so that's how you perfectly get that to line up. Now let's pay attention to the inside. So I'm using a stamp, this one here from the Apothecary Art Stamp, and I'm using my Stamp-A-Majig, and I picked out the layered labels framelit that goes along with it. So now what I'm going to do is close my card and center this. This is going to give me precise placement on the inside of my card. Holding it very still, open it up and bring in your Stamp-A-Majig. So this is just the imaging sheet. Then I'm going to use the black Staz-On ink. Get this all good and inked up. Move this out of the way and stamp. So this is Staz-On. I typically leave it in place a little bit longer than the others to make sure I get a really good and crisp image. And then close your card before you do all the watercoloring. Make sure it's perfect, which it is. I'm very happy about that. Then I'm going to use the Marina Mist Ink. Close up your Staz-On, and remember, Staz-On you store upside down, but you don't want that to dry out. Then I'm going to be using the Loving Thoughts, the With Sympathy. Once again, using my Stamp-A-Majig. Bring this in, move this out of the way, ink this up in that Marina Mist, and stamp. I love this. Alright, now we're going to do some watercoloring. So if you don't know how to get your palette of color there, the Stampin' Up! Ink pads were designed to have a flexible lid. So when you squeeze, you get that ink on the lid. Then you're going to want your aqua painter. And I've got it filled with water. And I normally use the fine tip, and today's no different. And don't squeeze as you're watercoloring. Just go through and color it in. And remember, with watercoloring, it's okay to go outside the lines. That's probably why I like it so much. It can be messy, and then it just looks artistic. Alright, so I'm just going to go through, and take care of all these flowers. So now that my flowers are done, I'm going to do the Pear Pizzazz, so the same color ink that I used for the ribbon on the front. And just go in and get some of these leaves. Once again, a real light touch, and don't squeeze your aqua painter. We're not doing watercolor paper, so you definitely don't want to add too much water, or else your paper will ball up and then you'll be sad. And yeah, so okay, I'm just going to go through. I don't like making sympathy cards just because they make me sad, obviously, but if you're going to send a sympathy card. I think the process is easier when you're doing a technique that you enjoy doing, and I enjoy doing watercoloring. I find it to be very relaxing because, as you can tell, I'm not worried about staying in the lines. It doesn't take intense concentration, and I can really concentrate on who the sympathy card is for. Alright, so now that that is done, actually I'm going to hit a little bit more right there because it looks a little too dark for me. Then our card is done, except for the bow on the front. So let me just go ahead and close this so you can see. Look how beautiful that is. And literally, it doesn't take long. You saw how long it takes. So I'm going to grab some of my Pear Pizzazz taffeta ribbon and the 10-second bow maker. If you don't have one of these, I think it's something every crafter should have. But you can get one at 10secondbowmaker.com. Just tie that into a bow. And when you use this little contraption and the instructions that come along with it, you've actually made a locking bow. And so it's not going to come untied when you pull on it. I'm just going to give this a trim. Give this a trim and a mini glue dot. And then drop that on the card. So there you have it. There's our very easy to do, beautiful sympathy card. I hope that you've liked this video. If you have, please be sure to like it below and also be sure to share it with your friends. Again, I'm Meg and I teach stamping, and have a great day.